More than I need, what you want, girl, it's yours. Give me your feelings, I just can't ignore. 'Cause all I want is you, baby. Give me your time, all your love, I've been paid.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the What They Never Told Us podcast. It's me, your girl Brandy,
It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
and we are back. Give us some hand claps and some air horns. Yay!
You did not say that right.
I don't have to say it how you say it. This is my intro. It's fabulous. Thank you. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Happy Memorial Day. Well, actually, when you see it, it'll be the day after, but it's still Memorial Day, and we are back with another episode. How you feeling, baby? I got to be the energy today because Russell's not feeling very great. So I'm trying to pep it up for him so that he can slide a little bit today. Usually I'm the cool, calm, and collected one, right, y'all?
I'm a little about 75, 80%, so I'm gonna muster up the strength. But yeah, and I'm a little under the weather.
Machu Picchu's return has flown through our house. Where
What'd you say?
It's Machu Picchu's return. I think that's what it's called.
Mitsubishi.
Machu Picchu. Somebody. Something like that. Y'all who know.
See, this is why.
But it's real. It's a real like thing where it's a stomach thing.
Oh.
But we've had that in our house where it started with a little boy that my mom watches, and then my mom got it, and then my son, and then Lily, his daughter, and we think Russell got hit with Montezuma's.
Okay,
I don't know
you
what it's
jacking
called,
his name, whatever it's called. I'm sure you have not said it right once.
They got the stomach flu. They stomach hurt, just babbling.
Yeah, so I'm trying, but nah, I feel a little better. Yesterday was really rough, and it's crazy because not so much stomach stuff as much as it is like just feeling really lethargic and like blah. So
You don't feel good.
Yeah.
You don't feel good.
I don't like when you got the energy. It was very antagonistic. I don't like it. I don't like it.
No, I'm sad that you don't feel good. And plus, then I have to push a little more. I've already been very, I've been outside of my comfort zone this whole weekend. I've been around a lot of people. At my son's open house, I literally had to go outside, and your mom was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, it's just really people-y in there." Like, I don't do well having to socialize with a lot of people. So that's why I don't host a lot of events and stuff, because I don't, everybody want to come up and talk to you at once, and you got 5 conversations happening, and it was a lot for me. Then we went to another open house, and it was really people-y there too. So now I'm being pushed because I got to carry this thing.
Yeah, that's me too. I present really social. I think it's a skill I developed, but I definitely get drained from a lot of interactions, especially with people who I'm not close with. You know what I mean? Like those interactions just really drain me. So shoot, we was at Sam's Club the other day, ran into one of your coworkers, and me and her husband got forced into this awkward conversation, just like, oh, our wives are talking, so we might as well drum up some combo. I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh, you're barbecuing? Oh, no, well, there's traffic, and I hate traffic. I literally could have took a nap after that. It was only like 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, but I could have taken a nap.
Y'all could have sat there in silence while we was talking. We was talking work stuff.
Even that would have drained me, just looking at him like, it's really awkward. Got through it though.
I do think though all of the activities of the weekend have helped distract me from the reality that our son has graduated. Like he out here. Like
he out here. He's out.
He already making bad decisions.
Don't even get me started.
You only been graduated for 3 days. You already making bad decisions. But shout out to everybody who came to his open house and poured into him, whether it was financially or with a word of encouragement, but especially to y'all, those of y'all who put money in his pocket. We really appreciate that. He's got a lot going on, and just know that he has already been frivolous with what you gave him, but we trying to rein him in to make sure that he has enough for what's coming up next.
Yeah, open house is like a graduation party for people in the Midwest, and he graduated. Shout out to everybody who has a child that has graduated. If you had a kid that just walked the stage, that's a huge accomplishment for them. But we also recognize this as an accomplishment for you guys as well. So shout out to y'all.
Yeah, so we are releasing him into the world. He is officially still under our roof for the next that's probably like 30 days, and then he's off to Hawaii. So
I'm ready.
send some prayers up.
I'm tired of him. Go. I work my nerve.
He pushing it. Let's just say.
Just worry. You just worry about them.
Yeah.
You just worry how they'll do, and at this age they've got life figured out.
Wholeheartedly. At 18 years old, he's had at least 2 years of making some solo decisions. So now he's an expert at life.
He ain't had no 2 years of making no solo decisions.
Yeah, kind of. He got a job on his own.
Every day, if you ask what's for dinner, you ain't making no decisions. What's for dinner? Nah. If that's the first thing on your mind when you wake up, you ain't making no decisions.
Look at him. He a little spoiled. He a little spoiled. So it is a lot of angst about him being alone in the world for me. So I'm actually glad to hear that you feel that too, because you're usually like, no, we got to talk to him calm. And I'll be just ready to explode on him so he can see the depth of what's about to come to him. Like, I'm trying to kick it to him all the way real, because the world ain't no joke, especially for no young black man. People like him and me, there's just no point. Like, we got to put our hands on the stove. I remember being him. My mom, my mom. So there was a lot of stuff that I was in the same way, just really like sheltered, spoiled. You know what I mean? And when I got into the real world, I went straight to living in an apartment. So I wasn't in a dorm. I didn't have like a meal plan or anything like that. I had rent. So it was like straight into like adult living. And that was wild. I wasn't even thinking about it. They couldn't even like, yo, where your rent money? Huh? Where your rent money? Oh, we just don't live?
Oh, shoot. I forgot about that. Every month? Okay. All right. Dad. It hit me hard. But, I mean, you don't learn it. You don't learn without it. And I was a terrible roommate. Oh, my God. I was awful. I feel so bad for the people that let me live with them.
Trust me, every time y'all get together, they remind you of just how bad you were.
I have no rebuttals. I have none. I'm like, yeah.
I've heard all these horror stories, and most of them before we even got married. And I was like, really? He did what? God.
I was terrible. Then I moved in with my best friend after that. He was nicer, so he ain't really said much, but I know he didn't like living with me either. He told me one day, he was like, yeah, man, lease up. I said, oh, man, that's what's up. So, what you think? He was like, oh, I got an apartment. Oh, where did it? Yeah, it's a 1-bedroom. Okay, cool.
You got to figure it out. Okay. Figure your life out.
Cool. It's all good. All right.
My mom put that same trick on me when I had my first baby. Yeah. She was like, oh, no, we moving. I said, oh, yeah, where we get a house at? She said, it's a 2-bedroom. I said, well, where Jay Sean go sleep? She was like, oh, no, where you and your baby going? I was like, okay. I was calling all my relatives. Hey, can me and the baby come? And luckily, my uncle, let me say, and that was the worst decision of my life. He almost killed us. He almost burned the house down.
Oh, Lord.
He's a drinker.
Oh, Lord.
So we lived like upstairs. We kind of did our own thing. Only needed to come downstairs to like leave the house and go to the kitchen. So my baby can't even hold his neck straight little, right?
Oh, Lord.
And we upstairs and all I hear is he was getting ready to fry some chicken and left the grease on the stove and fell asleep. Oh, Lord. Drinking in there. I said, oh, I got to move.
Is that when I met you?
I was living at that. Not when you met me, but when we reconnected. Yes, I was living at his house. Yeah. I said, oh, I got to get up out of here. And the next time you came and meet me, I was in my own apartment.
Yep. That makes sense. Okay. I'm connecting the dots. He's not
about to kill me because he want to drink all day. No.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I got that same kind of treatment. That's called, what's the loving, like, the discipline and love. They just trying to, teach you real quickly how to get out and get on your own. And I think that's what he needs.
Tough love.
Yeah, he need that.
Push you out the nest. You better flap your wings.
So you just bought.
That ground gonna hurt.
You just bought $500 AirPods. So don't ask for no gas money. Don't ask for no money for food.
They want no
You
AirPods.
Gotta figure it out. Well, what is they?
Headphones.
They Apple headphones? Okay. Well, whatever they is, they cost $500 and he can't afford that.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, no, go ahead. You have something else to say?
Nah, I know you want to talk about it. I'm sick of talking about it.
We can go on a whole rant about kids, but let's save that. Let's talk about our social media and what's been happening. Shout out to everybody who's recently found this podcast. Either it's been via Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, because in the past week, it has been insane for us. So not only have we had all of the graduation activities going on, our social media has been going crazy off of about 3 clips. And there have been comment upon share and reaction and remixes and stitches.
TikTok and Instagram.
So we appreciate you. Number one, any feedback is good feedback, even though y'all have a lot of negative stuff to say. We see it all and we appreciate it. And we just wanted to acknowledge that, always when you see a clip of something, it's just a clip. It is not a full representation of someone's life nor a relationship. So all of the people who are judging or trying to offer Russell criticism of our, feedback to get into a new relationship, that ain't what it is. He wasn't even talking about me.
Right, bro,
Thank you
gotta
very much.
leave her, bro. She don't love you, bro. There was one stitch that was he said, it seemed like you told her what you like and she had not reciprocated or did that because she don't like you, bro. Yep. I was like, huh?
How you get that?
Were you okay? All right.
Was we watching the same clip?
She don't like you. Well, we're married. If she don't like me, then that's bad. That's real bad.
He said I only met you at your needs for a little bit, but I couldn't maintain it.
Because I don't like it. Because you don't like me.
You got that from me telling him that voicing his needs is not begging? Like, I'm literally trying to get you to...
He got that discernment. That's what he got. He got that discernment. But hey, I want to say special shout out to y'all who did the due diligence of not just looking at the clip. It's like, oh, you know what? That's intriguing. Let me go check out the pod.
Yes.
And you subscribed, you're watching on YouTube, or you're listening to the podcast. Special shout out to y'all. Y'all are now part of the community.
Part of the
Stick
family.
Stick around.
Welcome. But we had a very interesting 2 conversations just about love and love languages and communication, which has always been the foundation of our podcast. We've talked about how just opening up and being vulnerable with each other and expressing what we're feeling has been really the what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out. Come on, be a wordsmith. Jesus be a thesaurus right now. What is
Substratum.
what?
Wait, what? Stay sentence again.
I don't even remember what I said. I'm Scrabble. What do you call it?
Substratum.
Oh, that's my Mitsubishi right there. Because I don't know what that means.
You not saying nothing.
I'm gonna put it. It's called Montezumu. I think it's called Montezuma's Return.
Okay.
Something like that. Anyways, but
you said Massamusa before.
It's been, besides God, it's really been the foundation of what has gotten us.
Substratum is a foundation.
Hey,
Come
I like
on.
it. It's been the substratum.
Ooh, get it.
Of our relationship.
Yeah.
Like, without the level of communication that we've had, we would not be where we are today.
That's real. And I think we're so different.
Absolutely.
And this is where communication has to be present, because when you're alike in so many ways, you don't need to really think too hard on why they do something or why they tick the way they tick, because you think the same way.
Absolutely.
I know why she did that, because I'm the same way. I'm wired the same way. But when you're different, right, and most of us kind of end up in these scenarios because opposites do attract, where you're with someone who's just different than you. They're wired different. They tick different. They think different. You cannot always understand why they might say something that you wouldn't say, or do something you wouldn't do. Or for me, I just do this and they didn't. If you don't have the conversation, I know for me, I end up just making my own scenario. I end up making my own.
And he will create a whole storyline.
Oh yeah. With back trauma and a therapy session to go with it. I've dissected you. I understand.
Now let's get to the meat of why you really said that. But it's something deeper there. And I'd be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
No, I just didn't want to go that way. I wanted to go outside.
Nah. You don't trust me. You don't love me. Let's get to the root of it. Yo, fam. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think
Did we talk about that on here?
No, I don't think we did. You want to tell them what happened?
Nah, because I don't want these people to think I'm crazy.
Well.
Okay, so look.
Well.
So look. Let me tell you. Something happened before that. There was something that happened before that led into that.
Yes.
I can't remember what happened.
Me either.
But something happened to where I was like,
oh, no, I remember.
Yo.
I think we did talk about this a little bit. Because when you and Nia were stumping and I yelled.
Oh, we didn't talk about this. Oh, yeah. I'm playing with the baby. Then Nia started stumping. I started stumping with her. We marching. She said, I don't know what she said exactly, but this is how it hit me. Who doing all that stumping? Stop all that stumping. And I'm like, yo, I'm grown. I'm a child. You're not going to yell at me. And of course, Nia, she snitched me. She didn't say she was stumping too, but so she said, who the seven Nia talking about something? It's my son.
Well, the kid, it's funny because both of the kids said that like it was going to change my mind about stumping. I probably would not have said it that way if I knew it was you, but just unnecessary stumping. I'm like, they was like, no, it was Russell. Like I was supposed to be like, oh, okay, you can continue stumping.
You were.
Oh.
or at least like change your tone. Even the kids recognized it like, oh, no. You see, you think it's us because of your tone, but it's the adult. And I think all of us, me and the children, was waiting on your tone to change because now you recognize you're talking to a grown man.
Right. I did shit.
And it didn't change. You like double down on it. And I can't remember what you said after that.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Okay. So you came over and you was like, yeah, it was me. So like, I didn't really like the way that you said that. And I said, if I can't tell the difference between whether it's you or the kid stumping, then I'm just yelling, stop stumping. Something to that effect. But I basically said, I can't delineate who's stumping. Like,
that wasn't it.
You acting like a child, you in there stumping.
Yeah, no, that was it.
Something like that.
Nah, it wasn't. It was like, oh, well, you acting like a child. You can get talked to like a child. That's how it hit me. So I said, ooh, I ain't like that. So I went in the room. We're getting dressed because we had to go to some event. I can't remember what it was. It was an honors event. Mm-hmm. My son, my son had an honor roll event. So I'm getting dressed for that. But while I'm trying to stop myself from self-talking because already I was like, who she thinks she don't respect you, King. She don't she think you I mean, like I'm in my head talking to myself. So then I stopped myself. I'm like, no, don't do that. Articulate how you feel. Because before
communicate.
Before I just have an attitude.
Yeah.
Have her be like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. Mm-hmm. So she came in the room. I think you were getting dressed, or maybe you already dressed. I don't know. You came in the room, and I don't know my exact words, but I said, "Hey, I didn't like that. I didn't like how you talked to me or something." And I can't remember how you responded. I think you were just like, "Well,
no." See, right when he told the story, I'm the one that always got the attitude.
Not playing. No, I remember what you said. I remember what you said. You said, "Well, that was not my intent, but."
I didn't say bad.
That butt be giving me is the.
He's such a liar. He's always want to pick me out to be the bad guy.
No,
what I said was I received that, and I'm
sorry
didn't
if
know. And I wasn't trying to be offensive. I wasn't trying to disrespect you. I clearly did not know who was stumping, and I assumed that it was the kids, so I just yelled at the kids.
Oh, that's what it was. Why didn't you reference the after once you realized it was me? That's the part where you didn't clarify, because I said, well, once you realized it was me, why was your tone
because
still the same?
I really felt like that. Like if I can't tell the difference between you and the kids, when I yell out and it's kid behavior just to be stomping around. I'm
playing with your children.
Oh, now they my kids.
Yes.
Now you about to start something else.
Yeah.
Now they my kids.
Yeah, I'm pointing.
Now they my kids.
All these other ain't playing with them. I'm playing with them. Okay, having a good time when they're having a ball.
I just didn't know what was happening, and
but once you realized it was me, why didn't say, "Oh, my bad, can you quiet down? My bad, can you quiet down? My head hurts or something." I don't know why your tone ain't changed. Why it was once you realized it was me. Why are you
going back into this?
Because when you came to your apology, when I went to the second part, I was waiting for you to be like, you know what, you're right, that was wrong. It didn't get that. It was like The only part we acknowledged was the part where you didn't know it was me.
Yeah, that's the part that I meant.
So the part that you did know was me and your tone still was crazy. Where we at with that part?
I mean, I know that you feel like my tone was crazy. I don't feel like that. When I said, well, if I can't tell the difference between you and the kids, and I'm yelling like it's the kids, that was like,
they're telling me, well, if I can tell the difference between you and the kids.
I literally felt that. Like, I didn't feel like I needed to apologize for that. If you feel like I need to
once
apologize for that, I will. But
the moment's passed now. But see, that in a moment, I definitely was like, well, where's the apology? Because I feel, you're
okay, but that's not what the story is about. You said that I did a good job of taking ownership. You told me. You said you did a good job of taking ownership of that, and I moved past it.
I did. I moved forward.
He didn't move past it. He lying.
Who, me?
Yeah, because it came out in the next part of the story.
Yeah, well, see, that's the part. And now we've isolated why I didn't move past it, because you didn't acknowledge. Because like you said, oh well, I didn't feel like my tone was crazy. Well, I did on the second part.
Yeah.
Once you realized it was me.
Uh-huh.
You never apologized for that.
And you never told me that.
What?
I literally thought that the offense was when I yelled, not at the second part.
I said, so once you realized it was me, you doubled down on it. That's what made me mad. I said that in the room.
Okay.
And you were like, well, I know it was you. So I can move like it. So here's the thing. I was not that caught up on it to where I was going to ruin the night. Because even like, you just want to go to the event by yourself. And I was like, nah, come on. Like, I'm not. I was good. Did you feel anything after that?
No. For the sake of story, no.
But if you know me, sensitive, okay? It's still a residue there. You know what I mean?
It's the self-talk.
So the event's over with. The event was held in the school that I work in. So I got keys to the building. So I parked to go through the building, get the good parking spot or whatever. So when the event was over with, Brandy started walking outside. And I was like, oh, no, we parked this way. She was like, now I can't make out what she's saying. It sounds like, nah, I'm going this way. And I'm like, no, going this way. And then she just walks off and goes outside.
So what I really said was, we're not going to get our walk in today. And I really just want to get some fresh air. I want to walk outside.
Yeah, I missed all of that. In my mind, I'm still stuck on, yeah, you don't respect me. This is what I'm talking about. You don't respect me. We can't walk together. Now we're going to go walk two separate ways because you don't want to go the way that I think we should go. Okay. So, yeah, it just those things bled into each other for me. And I had attitude. That's what it was.
You was doing a lot of self-talk in that scenario. A lot of
I expressed myself.
Yourself.
I did the right thing.
The first time you did, yeah. But then we rode home all the way in silence. And I'm like, talk to me. What's going on? Like, what's the issue? And what the conclusion is you said something to me that blew my mind. You said, because, I just come from the mindset that I'd rather not have my way so we can be together instead of just having my way, because I decided to walk outside. In my head, I'm like, yo, we're going to the same location. How we get there is not important.
So this is perfect because it has exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
We're different in this regard.
Yes.
So because I would do it differently, I don't understand your motive.
Absolutely.
Because I don't understand your motive and I'm not seeking out your motive, it leads me to create my own scenario,
Absolutely.
Right? So in my mind, in this scenario, I might want to go this way, you might want to go that way, but what we look like going two different routes to the same place. My family there, people we know there, we splitting up going two different directions. Even my parents like, where Brandy at? Oh, she went that way. Why y'all not go? I said, I can't remember, but I was just like, it just seems stupid. So for me, it just bothered me. I'm like, I just wouldn't do that. Like, we'd walk to the car together if it was, and here's the thing, had I heard you say,
we're not gonna get our walk in, and I really want some fresh air.
I want some fresh air. I would have been like, okay, babe, let's do that. Whistling, holding hands, didn't have that.
But because it didn't happen your way.
No, because I don't understand how you think. Because in your mind, if I want to go this way, and no matter if you want to go this way, I go my way, you go your way, and I'll meet you there. And to me, it's like, I don't understand it. I don't want to go your way. I want to go my way. So forget, do what you do, and I'll do what I do, and I'll meet you there.
But it wasn't none of that. It was none of that. Like, to me, when it's something so inconsequential, and this is just the difference in the way we think, how we get to the car, we're still going home together. We're still driving in the same car. I'm not calling an Uber. We're not upset with each other. There's no tension in the air.
There's
There's
still
no
no tension from you talking to me
from
crazy.
you, but not from me. There was no malice in me going the opposite way. It was simply the fact that I wanted to get outside. We had been cooped up in the house. Then we was in the building. I wanted to go outside. So I went that way.
Yeah, why would you have tension? I'm the one getting beat up on.
Yeah, okay, that's what you tell yourself, right? That's the story that the scenario is painting, but it's not the reality of what the other person, i.e., me, in this relationship was feeling. And I think, again, when we go back to just communication, especially when there's just core differences in who you are and why it's so important, because had it ended there and I was just okay with you having an attitude or being upset because it didn't happen the way, we painted it out in our heads. We didn't walk together. You walked behind me, whatever it was. It could have turned into a whole big thing, but because we both recognize that, okay, there's some tension here, and we're not afraid to tap on the tension. And that's one thing that I applaud us about, because a lot of people will just sit in it and until it resolves on its own, which it never does, by the way.
Just get over it.
Yeah, you just get over it until the next time that it happens. But we're able to have the difficult conversations in order to get to a point, and I believe I said this on the last episode because it was something so good that came from the marriage retreat, was that we don't agree, but we agree that we don't agree. Right? We have two different opinions on it. The point of us having the conversation is not for me to change your mind, and it's not for you to change my mind. It's just to come to an understanding of why we arrived on two different pages and understand that we're not always going to agree, and that's okay with us. And I think a lot of people are afraid to live in that space because it feels unsettled. But for us, we're able to talk it out to a point where it can be like, all right, I hear what you're saying. I still don't agree with that, but I'm cool with you feeling that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, for me, and I want to make sure I'm clear on this, it was not about the car. It was not about the route to the car. It was about the scenario before, and it bled into it. Yeah. Had that not happened, I'm pretty sure that after the event wouldn't even felt like that. But it was just because I still had this residue of like, man, I feel disrespected.
And we didn't have a lot of time to talk that out.
No,
we were getting ready. We had to go. We're at the assembly or whatever it was. And so when the next offense happens, now it's all a string of offenses. It's not two isolated events. All of that communicates disrespect in that moment. So I applaud you for having the conversation in the first time. And I think we just needed to have that conversation again to get it all out on the table. And I'm just happy that we're not afraid to have those difficult conversations because they're so necessary. And someone in our comments even said, well, how do two people who even have different love languages, how are they even attracted to each other? And I'm like, well, it's very simple because most of the time we're attracted to each other way before we know what each other's love languages are. And then way before we really understand the nuances, because just because your love language is physical touch, it doesn't mean you want me all over you 24/7, 5 days a week, falling all over you. Like, you also enjoy your personal space. So I have to learn how to love you through your love language. Yeah. So I was like, I kind of tried to explain that to her very quickly. Like, I was attracted to him way before I knew what his love language was.
Love languages are about maintaining something that already exists. Yes. It's not about the inception of feelings. Like you said, most of the time by the time you get into this stuff, you're already in love. You're already, I love you, but can you hold my hand more?
Off all the surface stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah.
So I just high five us for having that level of communication. It is not always easy.
I'm improving. I'm not 100% there yet. And it's different for me. Like, it's not always like, I know we can have the conversation. I know we've had it before. I know we'll come on the other side, but I just don't always feel like it.
You don't always feel like having the conversation.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't want to do this tonight. You know what I mean? Like, or I don't want to do this right now. But I'm getting better at it. I don't like sitting in tension, though. So for consequential things or things that I know I'm going to have attitude about this, we got this. I don't want to sit in tension. Like, let me just have a conversation. That I can do. But when it's the little stuff, which I'm learning not to ignore, because the little stuff grows and it festers. And when a bunch of little stuff adds up, you know what I mean? Now you're dealing with the whole issue. So those are the ones I'm like, okay, should I say something? No, I'll let it go because it ain't even that deep. But you just got to say stuff.
And I think I'm naturally just confrontational, right? So for me, I'm like, you got a problem? Is something wrong? You got attitude? Like, that's just natural for me to.
But you don't bring up problems.
I bring it up when you got problems. When I think you got a problem.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, am I just perfect? Do you just not have no issues? Like, that's what I'm saying. So where's the stuff that, like, hey, I didn't like when you did this, or hey, I don't like when you.
I think I do say that to you. I don't think I have to say it as often. I think I offend you way more than you offend me. I have tougher skin than you. So there are some things that may have offended somebody else that don't necessarily hit me the same way. If we go back to family of origin and things like that, like my mom is just a rough talker. My grandfather, everything that he said sounds like yelling. Like, he's like, go get that out the refrigerator. Okay. Like, I'm just used to a more, I don't know, crass way of talking. So I think that as far as verbals, I don't think you offend me very much. There are core things that I think we've talked about in infinitum. Like, I feel like it's just at this point. This is the vocabulary episode.
What'd you say?
In infinitum. Like, we just talked about it so much that. Yes, just another word.
Substratum infinitum. Okay.
And Machu Picchu.
We smoke it. You're still, I'm almost positive. I don't know the word, but I'm almost positive you're not saying it right.
At this point, I'm saying it wrong on purpose, but I think it's Montezuma. Montezuma.
Montezuma.
Anyway.
Mitsubishi.
So when it comes to things like that, I am not as easily, I won't say easily offended because I don't believe that you're easily offended, but I just think that our communication styles are different. So you just don't offend me as much as I offend you.
Yeah, I'm so my dad, and I hate it. God. Oh, this was my whole life growing up being like, bro, are you serious? Like, you so sensitive, dog. But this man.
It's not that bad.
I
mean, I don't know how bad your dad was, but to me, it's not that bad.
No, he was. I'd be like, bro, I was just playing with you. You'll understand one day. You'll understand one day. I'm like, bro, I was just joking with you, dang. But this tension that exists, I know where the origin of that comes from. You know what I mean? Because he was so hypersensitive on being respected, I feel like it's just developed this like paranoia for me. Like, I need respect. Like, don't disrespect.
Everything feels like disrespect.
I'm just hyper vigilant of it. I don't think everything feels like disrespect. I think for the most part, what I get from people a lot is love. You know what I mean? At least the disrespect doesn't come to my face. You know, maybe it's behind my back or something. But for the most part, my interactions are very positive. So when I get the opposite, I don't know how to process that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to process that. So, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I do think when I have those gripes with you that I'll bring them up. I might not say it. I think a lot of my conversation with you is very much like, hey, let's just talk about, and hopefully we'll get to that. Like, I'll bring up something smaller and hopefully that will lead to the bigger conversation of I need or I didn't like. But I can tell almost immediately when I offend you. So for me, I will come to you with that conversation before I think you'll come to me sometimes. And that's the part that I think you're getting better at. You tend to shut down and I'm like, okay, let me poke and prod and see what's happening there because I probably said something to offend him and I don't want him to think that that was the intention. Because 9 times out of 10, it's literally never my intention to offend you, but I do understand that I can be a little harsh with my words and I don't mean it in the way that it comes off. So I be feeling like I have to smooth it over.
Yeah, they don't see, those incidents don't seem like they happen as much. You know what I'm saying? I don't think this is something we deal with a lot, but I think I can see the aspect of where like this is just kind of like your context. You know what I mean? Like you're a little more loud and brash.
Yeah.
So
my family talk to each other. Like, you come to one of our cookouts and everybody gonna be talking about each other. Everybody gonna be pouring each other's dirty laundry out there, trying to embarrass one another. That's just like how we communicate. I understand that in a relationship, probably don't work out the best to try to like expose the other person. So I am trying to get better at that piece of communication. But again, I just don't feel like there's been a point in our relationship where I'm like, I can't talk to him about that, or I can't bring this up for fear of how the conversation is going to go.
yeah.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to come to you really about anything. And you're really like quick to apologize. And I think that's something that I definitely need to work on. Cause like, I always feel like I got to show you that I didn't mean it. Where I think for you are like, I'm sorry you felt that way. And then you say that thing that I don't like, but I'm trying to work on accepting that too.
What thing do I not like?
That I don't like.
What's that?
That I hope you know my heart. I hope you see my heart in this. I hope you know me well enough to know that I would never.
Well, that's kind of the same thing as the intent thing, right? Like, your intent,
Absolutely.
or what you meant means little as much as like
how it felt.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a tightrope to walk. Apologizing for feelings, even though sometimes feelings aren't reality. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes people get caught up in trying to give an accurate depiction of reality. And when you do that, they think it alleviates the need to communicate compassion for your partner's feelings, right?
Absolutely.
So reality is like, okay, I could have been out with my homies all night long. I've done nothing wrong. I've been with my friends. We were having a blast. I missed a bunch of phone calls. Some I saw, some I didn't. Truth of the matter is, I was just really having a good time, and I didn't want to be sitting here arguing with you about where I've been at all night. Now, I come home eventually, way late. You've been calling me. I haven't been answering. In your mind, you're offended. In my mind, I've done nothing wrong. And sometimes the fact that I've done nothing wrong, to me, alleviates the need to empathize with the feelings of a partner who, look, you don't know my context. Yes, I might have been cheated on in the past. Yes, I might have been hurt. And maybe that is bleeding into the scenario. Maybe it is making me see some things that are not a reality. But the truth of the matter is, I was concerned, I was worried, and I needed you to affirm me tonight. And you didn't pick up the phone. You didn't communicate with me. And because of that, I'm hurt. Now, yes, you didn't do anything wrong, but you still can say, listen, I'm sorry if you feel yada, 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 yada. I want you to know this is what was going on, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry for not answering the phone.
Yeah, it's that understanding that my feelings, although they may not reflect reality, they're still real. I still feel it, right? Even if your actions didn't intend to make me feel a certain way, the fact is I still feel it. It could be old stuff. It could be new stuff. And I think an apology just goes a long way of starting to set the stage that, hey, I understand where you're coming from, and I'm sorry that you felt that way. Yeah. Let's talk about what the reality of the situation is. And I think sometimes when our feelings are hurt, we miss reality. Reality doesn't even matter in that point. It's all about what we feel. And feelings are false, and feelings are fickle, and they're subject to change at any moment. So when you offer that apology to me for how I feel in a moment, it does ease my feelings a little bit. Now I can start to look at it from a different situation versus if you were just coming in ready to defend your actions. Now it's like, now I got to defend my feelings. But when you acknowledge my feelings, I don't have to defend them anymore. Now I can start to process, okay, why does him not calling communicate immediately to me that he's cheating? Not that he in a car accident, not that he in the hospital, not that his phone died, not that he was just having a blast. But this one thing communicates cheating to me. I need to process that. But you acknowledging the fact that I feel that way helps me start to process that. And I think you have that down pat. You have that, hey, no, for real. I do believe you have that, hey, I have to apologize for the way it makes you feel. Now we got to get to, but you should know me and you shouldn't feel that way.
I'm still trying to work on not feeling the need to defend myself.
I think that's something that's hard for everybody.
Yeah, or like being seen inaccurately. I get too concerned about that while trying to affirm somebody's feelings. You know what I mean? Like if I say something
that you know that.
I'm starting to recognize it, you know, but I think it's because you pointed out. I don't think I recognize that. I always say, I hope you know my heart, or I hope you know my character. To me, I'm trying to be seen accurately. Like, I know I hurt you, but I hope you still see me. You know what I'm saying? And in that moment, if I'm being honest, it's a self-centered mindset. I'm very image focused. I'm very people pleasing by nature. Maybe not by nature. I don't know if I'm created to be that way, but I just think like the events of my life have kind of forged me to be this way. And I don't think I always recognize how that bleeds into my, mindset. But when you're hurt, how you see me shouldn't be my main concern.
That's good.
You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
not everything even calls for you to see me differently. Like, bro, we having a disagreement about something that you might have said wrong or whatever. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean she doesn't see you. You know what I mean? Like, still your wife. She still love you. Just affirm how she feels and apologize. And if there is a point where you're misunderstood or something that's legitimate, like, hey, no, I did not say that. And I would never say that to you. And we've had conversations like that. Like, yo, I would never do that to you.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to affirm somebody, it's like that. I preach this, and it's awakened a fire in me since the marriage retreat. But it's just like death to self, like not just in marriage, but in your walk with God. Like you're dying to your old self, and that's some of my old me that creeps up, like this people pleasing, this need to people please, and I see it bleed. Like, okay, in these scenarios, why are you worried about how she sees you? You know what I mean? It's you trying to protect this image that you want to maintain with her. Yeah, it's you. Yeah, it's who you are, who you believe you are. But that's not in jeopardy every time you make a mistake.
Yeah, that's
you know
good.
what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's something I'm recognizing and I'm trying to get better at. I don't even realize when I'm doing it. You know what I mean? So it's a new revelation, but I am looking to like adjust that as life goes on.
And I think the need to defend self, I mean, I feel like that's just an innate, part of a person. Like we do want people to see the true us, right? And we want to maintain a certain persona, especially with the ones that we love. But I think it's good what you said, that every offense doesn't mean that it changes someone's perception of you, right? It could be very surface. It's just a simple mistake, and it doesn't mean that I no longer love you or I no longer see you as this highly respected man, because you still are that in my life. And I think that's really dope, and that's really profound that you found that out and now can begin to work on that. But you touched on about that dying to self, and I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Pastor Tim Ross, and he gave this analogy of why marriages happen at the altar, because in the Bible the altar was a place of sacrifice, right? And so that's why marriages happen at the altar, because you are sacrificing yourself, you're dying to yourself to become one flesh with this person. And I believe that a perfect depiction of that is like the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, how they're one, but they're still three separate beings. It's the same in marriage. Like, we still are individuals, but when we come together in that way, we become one mind, one body, one soul, and we operate in that. And I think what a lot of marriages is missing is that unity piece. It's a lot of division still, a lot of individuality. And I came into this with that, wanting to protect my individuality. You are a huge personality, right? And you're known, and now your social media presence has also become something. You are the personality in this relationship. You are the very personable one that people are initially drawn to. And I never wanted to be lost in that, right? I never wanted to be Mrs. Russell Davis, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted to be Brandy Davis. And I felt like coming into this that I was going to lose that. And my fear of that was reaffirmed at the marriage retreat. I thought it was something that I was getting over, but someone that we love dearly in affection was calling us the Russells. And it triggered that in me that, oh my God, I'm not me. Like, people see me and they only see, like, when they see me, they see you. They don't see Brandy. And as a child, I felt invisible. And it created this need in me to always want to stand on my own, always want to be recognized on my own merit and not swallowed up by somebody else. And of all the things that we learned in the marriage retreat, good things that will help our relationship, it also helped expose some things in me that I still know that it's like, I'm not quite there yet. I haven't sacrificed that need to be a individual inside of the relationship. Like, I want to be your wife. I love being recognized as your wife, but I still need people to see me. I still need to be able to feel like I'm operating on my own. And I don't want that, but there's something innate in me that's still screaming to be seen, to be recognized.
Did that bleed into the podcast when I got a little too talkative?
Oh, 100%. We didn't talk about that on here, but
we didn't.
No, we just talked. We kind of glazed over that, glazed over what happened. But so 100%.
So we were supposed to do a live podcast at the marriage retreat. We forgot the memory chip. We talked about that last episode, so we didn't have that for presentation, but. During our live podcast that wasn't a podcast, we went in with a loose plan, right? And it was our first live podcast. There was a lot of nerves there, at least on my end. So when we were talking, well, rather when I was talking, went to our intro, and I just hit the ground running. I'm just and like this, and I almost felt like I was in my preacher bag. Like, you know, when you're, you know, when you just got to talk for like an hour and you're just one thought leads to the next. And somewhere in that, I don't know if I passed it to you or something, or I said something.
It's probably a good 7 or 8 minutes of just dialogue, right?
Yeah.
Not saying anything wrong, not saying anything obtuse to what we had agreed that we were going to talk about.
I'm just doing all the talking.
You were just talking, like doing what you do best, right? It's a gift that you have to articulate words in such a way that in this moment you ran with it and you said something like, "Is that what you think?" Or what do you think? And I was like, "Oh, I can talk now."
I got so mad
because I was like, I told you this, but for me, a lot of the things that we do are heavily driven by you, right? You know, starting the podcast was your idea, but in this, I found something that I'm actually kind of good at.
I know, kind of, you're great at this, yeah.
Something that I like to do, something that does not make me feel insecure. It reinforces that, yes, Brandy, I see you. Not anybody else, but I see you. I remember who you are when everybody else tried to stomp that out of you. This gives me the opportunity to be me. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, our thing felt like your thing.
For sure. But I don't think I connected that. Before that, when she kept saying y'all were about to have the Russells come up and do the live,
it was just like dagger.
You were like the Davises. 5 minutes later, all right, here go the Russells. You're like the Davises, and then here I go.
And he made it the Russell show, and I was like, And go ahead.
No, what is that? Speak it.
I disappeared.
You didn't, though.
I did.
So
So this is the thing. I did. There were moments in that in that span of time where you were talking when I felt like that little girl who was told to go upstairs, who was told to shut up and stay out of grown folks' business, who was told you talk too much, nobody wants to hear what you have to say. I disappeared in that moment. And it was but the little voice, the Holy Spirit inside of me that was like, speak up. And although I did not speak up in the way that I would have liked to as now the fully grown, trying to get healed and saved and delivered person, I spoke up as that little girl who was fighting for her voice. And I was like, oh, I can talk now with all the attitude and all the swag that got me attention before.
This is the perfect picture of how our history and what we've been through becomes such a big part of our present, because all of that disappearing had nothing to do with me talking for 7 minutes.
No, it
had everything to do with things that were living inside of you from a reality that you live. You saying, oh, I can talk now in a room full of people, put me back in the house where I'm watching my dad fight for respect, and my mom being like, boy, be quiet. So I'm in here like, I know how to, been in theater, I know how to, if I make a mistake, just keep going. So my mind, I played through it. But as soon as that was over, I was like, so in the future, here's other ways of how you could tell me that I'm talking too much or whatever. But all of that bled into a marriage and created issues that have nothing to do with this. Because any other time, if you would have said that, I never would have felt that way. I don't even think, when I look back on it, if I was sitting in the audience and I heard that, I don't think I would even look at it and be like, she told him.
Yeah.
But I felt like that.
Yeah.
I felt like you tried to check me in front of a room full of people.
While I'm sitting there feeling like you like, sit back, I got this.
You know what I mean?
We don't need to hear from you.
None of that is reality.
Right.
But all of that is how our past paints the scenario, paints our reality. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying about, and I want you to be clear on, yes, I'm clear on how you felt, but you need to know that your persona is not in you shouting from the mountaintops.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you didn't disappear in 7 minutes. It's no way in the world.
Obviously, I know that's not reality.
Okay, yes. I just want to make sure, because I'm like, yo, come on, like.
But in that moment, that's what I felt like.
That was your reality.
I disappeared.
Yeah.
Now I know that after having a conversation, I fully understand that. Number one, you were nervous, but number two, when we sat down there and all the things were happening, our time was shortened. We didn't have the chips. We weren't really. Like, we had changed the order of what we were going to talk about. So you felt like, okay, let me just lead this and you jump in and we'll tag team like we always do. Right. But again, a culmination of events.
Yeah.
Being called the Russells, already having this feeling like you have to show up even more because you're in a relationship with somebody who has such a huge personality.
Yeah.
And then we sit down on our podcast, and I'm not saying anything. And I'm fighting like, and then I just shut up. And that was history repeating itself. I want my voice to be heard, so I'm trying it, but it's continued being shut down. So now I just shut up. And in the moment where I was able to speak again, it was that fiery, like, now I gotta prove that I deserve to be here too, after you just brought the house down by yourself. Like,
brought the house down.
I mean, because again, it's not like you were just rambling, right? You were saying very profound, prophetic things in this moment that you had analogies that people use continuously.
Prophetic was extra. Which,
all right, if you don't recognize it, I'll have to speak it into you, but it was definitely prophetic. When you were talking, it was prophetic not on just what we were talking about, but what was going to happen over that weekend and what was happening in our relationship, because that slow cooker analogy that you gave was exactly what I was feeling. All those emotions and feelings that have been brewing in me for such a long time. And I've never had the stage to say to the adults that were around me as a child, like, you tried to shut me up. you didn't let me speak. You didn't let me voice my opinions. You didn't let me talk when I really had something significant to say. Y'all wanted to dump on me, but then when I wanted to say, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z, it was like, shut up, you don't know. This is a child's play. You need to stay in a child's place. When y'all done put me in adult business my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was prophetic. It was prophetic. Shut up and accept it.
I'm not gonna fight you no more on it. Yeah, I just I'm learning more and more that like if you can't have peace with your past, you will have problems in your present.
Absolutely.
You how them peas lined up?
I heard it. All that onomatopoeia.
Is that what that is?
I think so.
Come on.
You know, I barely passed 6th grade.
But I don't know what that is. I know the word. I don't know what it means. Yeah, but it's so true. Like, if you can't make sense of it, then you won't realize how it's manifesting in your present day. You know what I mean? And this, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I'm saying that's why we need to talk, because all of those things that are drumming up on the inside of us, if they just stay there,
yeah, I get it.
Don't sound so enthused, but it creates problems where problems don't need to live. And we both had marriages that crumbled because we wouldn't talk about the core issues that were happening. We didn't want to rock the boat. For me, I just didn't think it would be well received, so I just didn't say anything.
Yeah.
In that relationship, my voice didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So it's just all of these things that I don't want to repeat history for us.
Same.
So for me, it's like, look, if it's going to make us cry, if it's going to make us have an attitude, but we going to get to the crux of what the real issue is, then let's talk about it. I don't think it had that incident not happened at the marriage retreat, we wouldn't have had that conversation at the Cheesecake Factory, and we wouldn't have had this conversation today. And I still would have been feeling like that.
Yeah, I feel you. For me, I think now that I've come to grips with like how important it is to have the conversation, I think now I'm shifting into, okay, what things can I put in place to make the conversation easier and more effective? It's not always going to be easy. Matter of fact, 8 times out of 10,
it ain't
not going to be easy. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a difficult conversation. But that doesn't mean, my problem is when it's difficult and you leave from that difficult conversation and you feel like you're worse off than you were before you had it. There's more tension now because now something I was feeling just to myself, now you're aware of it. Now I don't want to lay in the bed next to you or whatever it is. So it's just having those tools to help us navigate that easier and, get through it. Like when we're at the marriage retreat, the can I have the floor thing, like to me is so, and I've been doing it for years. I'm so mad at myself that I've never once thought to apply that to here, but there's been so many times I've been sitting with someone who's like escalated on 10,000, like ready to, if they could rip the world apart with their hands, they would in this moment. And having to verbally walk them through what they're feeling versus what the reality is. And I've done it a million times, and I never once thought like, hey, that can work here.
Yeah,
it was genius.
Although we talk about communication, it's not just talking about the problem.
No,
like you have to talk about it in a way that is fruitful to your marriage and to communication, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because if we just sitting down and screaming at each other, yeah, we talking about it, but we're not getting anywhere. We're talking about it so that we can come to an understanding about why you made the decision, why you said that, why you feel that way. And again, we don't have to agree. We just have to agree that we disagree in this moment. And if our conversations can just get us to that point, then everything that happens after that is on the strength of, I want to get us to a better place. Yeah. And I think a lot of times we just argue just to say that we right. We just talking just to make somebody else feel that you right, I'm right and you're wrong. And that's not fruitful conversation. That's not conducive to building a healthy relationship. So now, like, it's a part of me that's got to die. And that part of me is feeling like I always have to be right. Feeling like I have to be seen as an individual and not just as your wife. Because really what I want to come from this is one mission, one band, one sound.
Drumline.
Period.
There it goes.
I don't want people to see me out in the world and be like, oh, there goes Brandy. And she's just Brandy the superstar and her husband ain't nowhere to be found. I chose you for a reason because I want you beside me in everything that I do. And I want to be beside you in everything you do.
Stedman.
So, no. Who want to be Stedman?
Stedman's got it made. It's a lot of dudes out there right now who would not mind being Stedman.
Okay. I don't want to disappear that much.
We know his name. All I'm saying is we know the brother.
I want to have things that I do on my own, but what I want it to always be known is the fact that I couldn't get there without you.
For sure. Likewise. It was a good combo.
Love you.
Love you too. I need to go lay down now. This is
right.
all the strength I had.
All right, it's back on me. My show again. So remember.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry I had to endure this.
Remember that we will be live tomorrow, Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. Please join us in the family for the conversation. It is always a good time when we get together with our fam. You can support the show by hitting us up on our Cash App, which is $what they never told us. You can also go over to Facebook and like and share and comment on our posts because Facebook is giving us the coins.
That part, YouTube too. If you're not following us on YouTube and you want to listen to the
subscribe.
audio, come on over to YouTube. Check us out. Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff.
And always remember that we love love.
Y'all should love too.
Peace.